My own family held an intervention to cut me off, for the good of the family. Too bad they never knew about the hidden business I ran. Imagine the deepest cut, the kind that comes from the people who are supposed to love you most. My own family, the Gonzalezes, actually staged an intervention to disown me. Can you believe it? The only problem for them? They had no idea about the secret, multi-million-dollar business I'd quietly built. The text from my mother was crystal clear. Family meeting. 7 p.m., non-negotiable. I stood on my parents' perfectly manicured lawn, my hand hovering over that cold brass knocker, a knot of dread in my stomach. I just knew whatever waited inside wouldn't be good. All I could see was the gleaming Mercedes in the driveway. The sprawling house had just screamed success. The kind my family worshipped, the kind they believed I'd completely failed to achieve. See, I'm Melanie. And in the Gonzalez family, I was always the black sheep. While my siblings collected degrees and accolades like trading cards. Seriously, it was like a competition. I chose a different path. A path that involved creating things with my hands. Building something truly, uniquely mine. The door swung open before I could even knock. "You're late," my mother said. Her lips pressed into that familiar thin line. "Everyone's waiting." I glanced at my watch. 6:58 p.m. In my family, anything less than 10 minutes early was basically a major offense. The living room fell silent the moment I stepped inside. My sister, Wendy, sat primly on the edge of the leather sofa, her lawyer's briefcase practically glued to her side. Louisa, fresh from her hospital shift, still wore her scrubs like some kind of badge of honor. And Nathan, my younger brother? He didn't even bother to look up from his phone. My father stood by the fireplace, hands clasped behind his back, looking exactly like a general preparing for battle. "Sit down, Melanie," he commanded, gesturing to the lone armchair directly facing all of them. The setup was painfully clear. Wendy, ever the professional, reached into her briefcase and pulled out a document. "We've been discussing the family's future," she announced, her voice as formal as a courtroom. "And we've come to a decision, a necessary one." "For the good of the family," my mother chimed in, perching beside Louisa, her voice dripping with self-righteousness. The document made its way into my trembling hands. The legal jargon was dense, but certain phrases screamed out at me. Formal dissolution of familial ties, relinquishment of inheritance rights, termination of family association. "You're disowning me." The words came out as a whisper, barely audible. "It's not personal." Nathan finally looked up from his phone, almost casually. "It's business." "Business?" I laughed then, a harsh, brittle sound that echoed in the quiet room. "I'm your daughter, your sister. How is this not personal?" "Your choices reflect poorly on the family name," my father stated, his gaze unyielding. "Your little craft hobby." "My business," I corrected, my voice firm. "Making trinkets in your apartment isn't a business," Louisa scoffed. "It's embarrassing. Do you know how it feels when my colleagues ask what my sister does?" "We've given you every opportunity," my mother continued, her voice rising. "The best schools, connections, resources. And you've thrown it all away to play with glue and glitter." I looked down at the document again, my hand surprisingly steady, despite the earthquake rumbling in my chest. Years of subtle jabs, disappointed sighs, and backhanded compliments had, in a twisted way, prepared me for this moment. They'd never understood me, never even tried to. "Where do I sign?" I asked, my voice calm, almost detached. My mother blinked, clearly expecting tears or begging, or a dramatic breakdown. "Melanie, if you would just reconsider your choices." "Where do I sign?" I repeated, my gaze fixed on Wendy. She pointed to the bottom of the page. "Initial here and sign here. There's a notary waiting in the study." 10 minutes later, it was done. Just like that. I was no longer officially part of the Gonzalez family. And you know what? The weight of their expectations, their judgment, their suffocating disapproval, All of it just lifted from my shoulders. It was a bizarre, unexpected sense of freedom. "I hope you understand," my father said as I headed for the door. "This is for the best." I turned back one last time, taking in their faces. The people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. "You know what's funny?" I asked, a wry smile playing on my lips. "You're so worried about the family name, about success and reputation, but you have no idea what I've actually built. You never even bothered to ask." "Melanie," my mother started, a hint of something I couldn't quite decipher in her voice. No, I cut her off. "You've made your choice. Now you get to live with it." The door closed behind me with a soft click, far too gentle for the sheer magnitude of what had just happened. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a notification from my business account. Another major order had just come in, pushing my monthly revenue well into 6 figures again. I smiled as I walked to my car, already thinking about the stack of orders waiting to be filled, the upcoming collaboration with a major retailer, and the feature article being written about my innovative approach to sustainable crafting. They wanted to cut me off? Fine. They'd learned soon enough what they'd just thrown away. Success, after all, is the sweetest revenge. As I drove away from the house I'd grown up in, I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel anger. Instead, I felt something else entirely. Freedom. The freedom to be exactly who I was, without apology or explanation. Family, I realized, isn't about sharing a name or DNA. It's about who believes in you when no one else will. And I had people in my life who did exactly that. They just weren't the ones I was leaving behind. "You did what?" Mara nearly spilled her coffee across my workshop table. 3 days had passed since the disownment, and I'd finally gathered the courage to tell my best friend. "Sign the papers." "Without arguing," I said, carefully applying gold leaf to my latest creation. You should have seen their faces. They expected tears, begging, maybe a dramatic breakdown. But your inheritance, Mel, the family connections, all of it just gone. I sat down my tools and looked at her directly. What inheritance? A share in a car dealership I never wanted? The privilege of being told I'm a disappointment at every family dinner? Suddenly, Ezra burst through the door, his laptop clutched to his chest like a lifeline. My marketing guru and business partner always had perfect timing. "Mel, you need to see this." He spun his laptop around. "Our latest collection just got picked up by Style and Home Magazine. They're calling you the artisan revolutionizing sustainable home decor." Mara appeared at the screen, her eyes wide. "Holy Mel, these numbers, is that really how much you're making?" "That's just last month," Ezra grinned. "Wait until they see what we've got planned next. The eco-friendly packaging initiative alone is going to..." My phone buzzed. Another order, notification. Then another, and another. "What's happening?" I asked Ezra. He refreshed his browser. "The article just went live. We're trending on social media. The sustainable living community is going crazy over your recycled material techniques." I walked to the wall of shelves displaying my latest pieces. Handcrafted home decor made entirely from reclaimed materials. Each piece told a story. Discarded wood transformed into elegant wall art, salvaged metal reformed into striking sculptures, forgotten glass reborn as stunning light fixtures. "We need to scale up," Ezra said, already typing furiously. "I'm getting inquiries from 3 major retailers. They want exclusive collections." Mara squeezed my shoulder. "And your family has no idea." "They never bothered to look," I said, picking up a piece I'd finished that morning, a delicate wind chime made from sea glass and driftwood. Too busy being embarrassed by their crafty daughter to notice she built a 6-figure business from scratch. 7 figures, actually, Ezra corrected, still typing. "After these deals go through." My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello." "Is this Melanie Gonzalez?" a woman's crisp voice asked. "This is Catherine Chin from Business Forward magazine." We're doing a feature on emerging entrepreneurs in the sustainable luxury market. Your name keeps coming up. I caught Ezra's eye. He gave me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear more, I said, keeping my voice steady despite my racing heart. We're particularly interested in your journey. Young, female entrepreneur, innovative approach to sustainability, rapid growth. Would you be open to an interview? Cover story potential, of course. I thought about my family's faces when they saw me on the cover of a national business magazine. Absolutely, I said. When were you thinking? After setting up the interview, I turned to find both Mara and Ezra staring at me, mouths agape. Business forward. Ezra whispered, "Do you know how huge this is? Their features can make or break companies." Mara hugged me tight. "This is it, Mel. This is your moment to show them all." I pulled away and picked up my tools again. No, this is my moment to show myself. I had orders to fill. The next few weeks passed in a blur. I hired 3 assistants to help with production. Ezra expanded our online presence and negotiated deals with retailers. Mara helped me prepare for the business forward interview. "Tell me again about your inspiration," she said one evening, plain reporter. I held up my latest piece, a chandelier made from broken mirrors and copper wire. I see beauty in broken things, in the pieces others throw away. Everything has potential if you look at it the right way. "That's it," she said softly. "That's what makes your work special. You're not just making pretty things. You're telling stories of transformation." My phone buzzed. A text from Ezra. "Major department store wants to meet tomorrow. Be ready." I looked around my workshop, once a dusty garage, now a thriving studio. Orders lined the walls. Half-finished pieces waited on workbenches. The air smelled of wood polish and possibility. "You know what the best part is," I said to Mara, who was admiring the chandelier. "I'm doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. What they called a hobby. It's now an empire in the making." "Speaking of them," Mara hesitated, "have you heard anything?" "Not a word." I picked up my tools again. "But they will soon enough. Everyone will." The chandelier caught the setting sun, sending fractured light dancing across the walls. Like my life, I thought. Broken pieces creating something unexpectedly beautiful. "Time to get back to work," I said, reaching for another piece of salvaged copper. "These orders won't fill themselves." There she is. Catherine from Business Forward rushed toward me, her heels clicking against the studio floor. "Our cover girl." She thrust the magazine into my hands. My face stared back at me, surrounded by my most intricate pieces. The headline read, "The Queen of Sustainable Luxury, How Melanie Gonzalez Turned Trash into Treasure." The response has been incredible. Catherine gushed. "Social media is exploding. 3 major networks want interviews." Ezra burst in, waving his phone. "Mel, the website crashed from traffic. We've got wait lists forming for every piece. And that department store deal. They doubled their initial offer." I traced my finger over the magazine cover, still struggling to believe it was real. The article detailed everything. My creative process, business model, revenue growth. Everything, that is, except my family's rejection. "The Today Show called," Catherine continued, oblivious to the storm brewing. "They want you for Monday morning, prime slot." My phone lit up. A text from Wendy. "My first contact with family in 2 months. We need to talk. Urgent family matters." I showed the message to Mara, who'd been quietly organizing orders in the corner. "Funny how you're suddenly family again," she muttered. Another text arrived, this time from Louisa. "Saw the magazine. Why didn't you tell us? Call me ASAP." "Ignore them," Ezra said, glancing at my phone. "We've got bigger things to focus on. The Singapore collector wants to commission 3 custom pieces, 6 figures each." Catherine cleared her throat. "Speaking of figures, Forbes is interested in featuring you in their 30 under 30-foot list. The notifications kept coming. Nathan, Mom's upset. You should call her. Then my father, we should discuss your recent publicity. Your story is inspiring people, Catherine said. Young entrepreneur refuses to follow conventional path, proves everyone wrong. It's resonating, especially the sustainability angle. The video of you collecting materials from demolition sites went viral, Ezra added. People love seeing the transformation process. My phone buzzed again. My mother this time. Family dinner Sunday, 7 p.m. We have much to discuss. Mara read the message over my shoulder. You're not going, right? I set the phone down and picked up a piece of sea glass, turning it over in my hands. Remember what you said about my work, Mara? About seeing beauty in broken things. Mel, no, they don't deserve. I'm going, I cut her off. But not for the reasons they think. The rest of the week was a whirlwind. The Today Show interview went viral. Orders flooded in faster than we could handle them. I hired 5 more assistants and leased additional workspace. Look at these numbers. Ezra said during our Friday meeting, we've exceeded our annual projection in just 2 months. The sustainable luxury market can't get enough of your work. The waiting list for custom pieces is 6 months long, one of my assistants added, even with the premium pricing. I nodded, only half listening. Sunday dinner loomed in my mind. Then my phone lit up with an email that changed everything. Holy, I whispered. Ezra looked up. What? The Museum of Modern Art, I said, my voice filled with disbelief. They want to feature my work in their upcoming exhibition on sustainable art. The studio erupted in cheers. Mara hugged me tight. See, this is what happens when you believe in yourself. When do they want to meet? Ezra asked, already pulling up his calendar. Next week, in New York. I laughed, a genuine, joyful sound. They're sending a private jet. Sunday arrived too quickly. As I pulled up to my parents' house, I noticed all their cars were already there. The whole family, right on time as usual. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Catherine. Breaking news! Your Business Forward feature just won us Magazine Story of the Year. Congratulations. I smiled, tucking the phone away. Perfect timing. The door opened before I could knock. My mother stood there, looking exactly as she had the night they disowned me. Except now, her eyes held something new. Desperation. Melanie, darling. She stepped forward for a hug I didn't return. We've missed you. Behind her, I could see the rest of the family in the living room. Wendy with her briefcase again. Louisa pretending to read something on her phone. Nathan actually looking at me this time. My father still by his beloved fireplace. Have you? I asked, stepping past her into the house. Or did you miss what I represent now? The room fell silent. On the coffee table, I spotted copies of Business Forward, my face staring up at all of us, a testament to everything they'd dismissed. We should talk, my father said, his voice lacking its usual authority. About the future, about family. I sat in the same chair they'd put me in months ago, when they decided I wasn't good enough to be part of their family. Yes, I agreed, smoothing my designer dress, paid for with my little craft hobby money. Let's talk about the future. The silence in the living room was thick enough to cut. My mother bustled around, pouring tea nobody asked for, while my father cleared his throat repeatedly. Your work is impressive, when he finally said, tapping the magazine cover. The profit margins mentioned in the article are quite remarkable. Remarkable. I raised an eyebrow. I thought it was just a hobby, playing with glue and glitter. Wasn't that what you called it, Louisa? Louisa shifted uncomfortably in her seat. We may have been hasty in our judgments. Hasty? I took a sip of tea. You disowned me. Had it notarized. About that, my father stepped forward. We've been discussing as a family, and we believe it's time to rectify that unfortunate situation. Unfortunate situation, I repeated. Is that what we're calling it now? Wendy reached for her briefcase, always the lawyer. I've drawn up papers to nullify the previous agreement. We can have it done today. The timing seems convenient, I said, watching their faces. Right after the magazine cover, the TV appearances, the museum exhibition announcement. Museum exhibition? Nathan perked up. Which museum? MoMA, I said casually, enjoying their shocked expressions. They're flying me to New York next week. Private jet. My mother dropped a teacup. It shattered on the hardwood floor, but nobody moved to clean it up. Melanie, my father's voice took on the tone he used for important business deals. There's something else we need to discuss. The dealership is struggling. I finished for him. I know. I did my research. The shift toward electric vehicles hit you hard. Banks aren't as friendly as they used to be. The color drained from his face. How did you? I have good financial advisors now, I said. They keep me informed about potential opportunities. Then you understand, when you jumped in, the family business needs to evolve. Your sustainable approach, your media presence, it could be exactly what we need. I laughed, the sound echoing in the tense room. So that's what this is about. You don't want me back. You want my success to save you. That's not fair. Louisa protested. We're family. Are we? I stood up, walking to the fireplace where family photos still hung. None of them including me. Because 3 months ago, in this very room, you made it very clear that I wasn't family anymore. People make mistakes, my mother said softly. We're trying to make it right. No, I turned to face them. You're trying to save yourselves. The dealership's facing bankruptcy, isn't it, Dad? And Wendy, that partner position you were promised? It fell through when your biggest client left. Louisa's hospital is cutting staff, and Nathan's research funding got pulled. They stared at me, shocked at how much I knew. Like I said, good advisors. We could help each other, my father insisted. Pool our resources. The Gonzalez name still means something in the city. My name means something. I corrected him. My work means something. And I did that without your help. Actually, I did it despite your act of discouragement. My phone buzzed. A text from Ezra. Singapore Collector doubled their offer again. Says price is no object. I have a meeting, I said, gathering my things, with people who believed in me before the magazine covers and TV spots. Melanie, please, my mother grabbed my arm. We're sorry. We were wrong. What more can we say? I gently removed her hand. You know what's interesting about my work? I take broken things that people throw away and turn them into something valuable. But some things, once broken, can't be fixed. Some relationships, once shattered, stay that way. You're really going to hold a grudge? Nathan asked. After we've apologized. Apologized? I walked to the door. All I've heard are business propositions and convenient excuses. Not one of you has actually said you're proud of what I built, or that you were wrong about my choices. You just want what I have now. That's not true, Wendy started. Save it. I cut her off. Keep your legal papers and your business proposals. I'm doing fine on my own. At the door, I turned back one last time. You know what the worst part is? If you'd supported me from the beginning, I would have helped you without hesitation. Family meant everything to me, but you taught me something valuable when you disowned me. Sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born into. I walked out, leaving them with their broken teacup and shattered pride. My phone buzzed again. Mara this time. How'd it go? They finally said, please, I texted back. Too bad it was for the wrong reasons. Their loss, she replied. Studio packed with orders. Want to come help? Pizza's on me. I smiled, starting my car. On my way. Family dinner's overrated anyway. The sun was setting as I drove away, casting long shadows behind me. Like the pieces I worked with, I'd been discarded. But I'd found my own way to shine. Some might call it karma. I called it justice. The text came 3 days later. Dinner tonight? Please, Dad. I showed it to Ezra during our morning meeting. Think he'll actually say please in person? Don't go, he said, not looking up from his laptop. We've got the MoMA meeting tomorrow, and the Singapore contracts need reviewing. I'm going. I picked up a piece of twisted metal, considering its potential. But this time I choose the place. I texted back, Leon, 8 p.m. I'll make reservations. The response was immediate. That's a bit expensive. I'm buying, I replied. Bring Mom. Leon was the kind of restaurant my parents used to brag about going to before the dealership started struggling. I arrived early, wearing a designer dress that cost more than my old monthly rent. They walked in right on time, looking deeply uncomfortable. The maitre d' recognized me immediately. Miss Gonzalez, your usual table is ready. The chef sends his regards and asks if you'd like the special tasting menu he's prepared. My parents' eyes widened. That would be lovely, Thomas. Thank you. Once seated, my father cleared his throat. Your usual table. I invest in local businesses, I said, sipping my water. This place included. The chef does amazing things with sustainable ingredients. My mother fidgeted with her napkin. Melanie, about Sunday. Let's order first. I cut her off. As the sommelier approached. The 82 Bordeaux, please. The whole bottle. My father's face paled. I knew he recognized the 4-figure wine. Now, I said after our glasses were filled. What's so urgent? They exchanged glances before my father spoke. The bank called in our loans. All of them. We have 30 days to either refinance or sell the dealership. And my mother jumped in. We've explored every option. Nobody's lending in this market. Not to car dealerships, I added. Especially not to dealerships without a clear transition plan to electric vehicles. The first course arrived, tiny works of art on pristine plates. My parents barely touched theirs. We need help, my father said finally. The words seemed to physically pain him. Your help. I clarified. Financial help? Both, my mother insisted. We were wrong, Melanie, so wrong. Seeing what you've built, what you've become, what I've become. I set down my fork. I'm exactly who I was months ago. The only difference is now I have money and influence. The second course arrived. My father still hadn't touched his first. We're not just asking for money, he said. We want to merge the businesses. Your vision, your sustainable approach, it could revolutionize the dealership. Electric vehicles, eco-friendly practices, and save the family name. I finished. That's what this is really about, isn't it? My mother reached for my hand. I let her take it, watching her face. We're losing everything, Melanie. The house, the business, our reputation. Like I lost my family, I replied. She withdrew her hand. The main course arrived. Perfectly cooked Wagyu beef. The chef stopped by personally to check on us. Everything is perfect, Antonio, I assured him. The new sustainable menu is brilliant. After he left, my father leaned forward. How much? Excuse me. To save the dealership, he clarified. How much do you want? I laughed, the sound drawing glances from nearby tables. You still don't get it. This isn't about money. It never was. Then what do you want? He demanded, frustration breaking through his carefully maintained facade. I wanted you to love me for who I am, I said quietly. I wanted you to be proud of me before the magazine covers and TV spots. I wanted a family who saw my value without a dollar sign attached to it. The dessert arrived, a spectacular creation of spun sugar and gold leaf. My mother started crying silently. We can change, she whispered. We can be better. I signaled for the check. Maybe you can. But here's the thing, I don't need you to anymore. I don't need your approval, your connections, or your name. I built something beautiful out of what you threw away. The bill came. I handed over my black card without looking at the total. So that's it, my father asked. You'll let the family business die? Let us lose everything. I stood up, smoothing my dress. You taught me an important lesson when you disowned me. Business is business. It's not personal. Melanie, please, my mother started. I have an early flight to New York tomorrow. I cut her off. The museum's sending a car at 6. Enjoy the rest of your dinner. It's already paid for. I walked out of Leon, leaving them with their cold food and colder reality. My phone buzzed. Mara asking how it went. They finally said, please, I texted back. Too bad it was for the wrong reasons. The night air was cool on my face as I headed home. Tomorrow, I'd be discussing my art in one of the world's premier museums. Tonight, I'd left my parents with the bill they never saw coming. The true cost of throwing away family for the sake of appearances. They offered what? Mara nearly fell off her chair in my New York hotel suite. 20 million, I repeated, still staring at the contract Mom's lawyers had presented for a permanent installation and consulting role on their sustainable art initiative. Holy, Ezra whispered, pacing the room. That's not including the Singapore deals or the retail contracts. My phone buzzed. Wendy again. Dad's meeting with bankruptcy lawyers tomorrow. Please call. I ignored it, focusing on the Manhattan skyline outside my window. The museum's private car would arrive in an hour for the final contract signing. Your family's blowing up my phone too, Mara said. Your sister, Louisa, came by the studio yesterday. What did she want? To explain their side. Said they're about to lose the house. Nathan's moving back in with them since his research position got cut. Another text from my mother. Please come home. We need to talk as a family. Ezra stopped pacing. You know what's ironic? If they hadn't disowned you, your business wouldn't have grown this fast. You channeled all that hurt into your work. Speaking of work, Mara picked up a piece from my latest collection, a phoenix rising from twisted metal and broken glass. This is different, darker. It's for the museum installation, I said. I'm calling it Family Ties. My phone rang. Dad, I let it go to voicemail. You could save them, Ezra said quietly. 20 million would clear their debts with plenty left over. I could, I agreed, but should I? Mara stood up, walking to the phoenix sculpture. Remember what you told me when you started this, about seeing beauty in broken things. This is different. Is it? She turned the piece, watching light play through the glass. Maybe this is your chance to transform something broken into something beautiful. My phone buzzed again. A text from Nathan. They're auctioning off Mom's jewelry tomorrow, even her wedding ring. They made their choice, I said, but my voice wavered. Ezra sat down, pulling up something on his laptop. Look at this. I've been running numbers. You could buy the dealership for pennies on the dollar right now. Transform it into an electric vehicle showroom. Your sustainable brand, plus their existing infrastructure. It could work. But only if you wanted to, Mara added. A knock at the door interrupted us. A courier with a thick envelope. Inside was a letter from my father, handwritten. Melanie, it began. I've written this letter 100 times in my head. Nothing sounds right. Nothing can excuse what we did. You were always the strongest of us, the most genuine. We were too blind to see it. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for a chance to be the father I should have been, to be the family you deserved. We're losing everything, but that's not why I'm writing. We lost what mattered, most the day we signed those papers. We lost you. I'm proud of you, not because of your success, but because of who you are, who you've always been. Love, Dad. The paper shook in my hands. Mel. Mara asked softly. He said he's proud of me, I whispered. For the first time in my life. Ezra closed his laptop. The museum contract doesn't need to be signed today. We could postpone. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Louisa. Mom's in the hospital. Stress and exhaustion. She keeps asking for you. I looked at the phoenix sculpture. Its broken pieces forming something new. Something stronger. Call the car, I said. We're making a stop before the museum. Where? Mara asked, though her smile suggested she already knew. The bank. I need to make some arrangements. And then, as Ezra was already dialing, I picked up the phoenix, carefully wrapping it. Then we're going to save a family, but on my terms. What are you thinking? Mara asked. A new company. Sustainable luxury vehicles. Electric showrooms with my art installations. A complete reinvention of what the family business means. With you in charge, Ezra added. With me in charge, I agreed. They want to be family again? Fine. But we do it my way. No more hiding who I am. No more shame about being different. The prodigal daughter returns, Mara smiled. But this time, she's the one with the power. I looked at my father's letter again. Sometimes the things we break can be rebuilt stronger. But first, everyone has to admit they're broken. The car arrived as I finished packing the phoenix. It seemed fitting. This piece about resurrection would now witness one. Ready? Mara asked. I nodded, tucking the letter into my pocket. Time to show them what family really means. And what it costs. We headed down to the waiting car. The phoenix carefully cradled in my arms, its glass wings catching the sunlight, sending fragments of light dancing across the walls. Broken pieces coming together to create something unexpected, something beautiful, just like family should be. The hospital waiting room fell silent as I walked in, the phoenix sculpture still in my arms. My siblings looked up from their phones, their faces a mix of surprise and relief. You came, Wendy said, standing. Where is she? I asked. Room 304, Louisa answered. Dad's with her. Nathan stepped forward. The doctor says it's mostly exhaustion and, save it, I cut him off. We're having a family meeting now. Conference, room down the hall. All of you. They exchanged glances but followed me. The phoenix found its temporary home on the conference room table, its shadows dancing across their tired faces. Before we see Mom, I said, pulling out a stack of papers, we're going to get some things straight. Is that, Wendy started, recognizing legal documents. A new company structure, yes. I laid out the papers. The dealership gets restructured into Phoenix Electric, sustainable luxury vehicles. I'll clear the debts, invest in electric infrastructure, and integrate my art installations into the showrooms. Their eyes widened at the numbers, but I continued. There are conditions, of course. Of course there are, Nathan muttered. First, I'm CEO. Non-negotiable. Dad becomes chairman emeritus. Advisory role only. Each of you gets shares based on your contribution to the new vision, not family ties. Wendy reached for the papers. I pulled them back. I'm not finished. Second condition. The old family dynamics die today. No more judgment about life choices. No more forcing people into boxes they don't fit in. Is this revenge? Louisa asked quietly. No, I picked up the phoenix. It's resurrection. But first, you need to understand what you did. I faced each of them. Wendy, you drafted the papers to disown me. Louisa, you mocked my little hobby every chance you got. Nathan, you couldn't even look at me that night. Each of you chose status over sister. The room fell silent, except for the hum of the fluorescent lights. We were wrong, Wendy whispered. Say it louder. She stood up, tears in her eyes. I was wrong. I let my own insecurities about success blind me. You built something amazing while I chased other people's definitions of achievement. Louisa joined her. I was jealous. You had the courage to follow your passion while I followed expectations. I'm so sorry, Mel. Nathan remained seated. I was a coward, he said simply. I knew they were wrong about you, but I stayed quiet. It was easier. I set the Phoenix down. That's a start. Now about Mom and Dad. The door opened. My father stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. I heard everything, he said. The nurses said you were here, and he trailed off, staring at the Phoenix. Dad, no, Wendy started. He held up his hand. My turn. He walked to the sculpture, touching it gently. This is beautiful, like everything you create. I was too proud, too stuck in my ways to see it. To see you. The company Wendy started isn't what matters. He cut her off. Your mother's upstairs, wondering if she'll ever see her daughter again. Not because of the money or the business, but because we threw away our child for nothing. I felt tears threatening, but held them back. Not nothing. You threw me away for appearances, for status, for the family name, and look where that got us. He gestured to the hospital walls. Our name means nothing now, but you built something real, something meaningful. He picked up the papers, reading quickly. These terms, they're more than fair, more than we deserve. Dad, you'd be giving up control, Nathan pointed out. Good, he said firmly. Look what my control did to this family. He turned to me. The company is yours. The family, that's up to you. I took a deep breath. Mom first. Then we sign. We rode the elevator in silence. Outside room 304, I stopped them. One more thing, I said. That disownment paper? I want it destroyed publicly. At the first board meeting of Phoenix Electric. Done, they said in unison. My mother was awake, looking small in the hospital bed. When she saw me, she started crying. My baby, she reached out. I'm so sorry. So sorry. I took her hand, feeling its trembles. I know, Mom. I know. We can't take it back, she said through tears. But can we try again? Please. I looked around at my family, broken, humbled, but here. Like the materials I worked with, sometimes the most damaged pieces could be transformed into something stronger. Yes, I said, squeezing her hand. But this time we do it right. All of us. The Phoenix on the conference room table caught the setting sun, sending ribbons of light through the hospital window. Sometimes I thought resurrection comes at a price, but if everyone's willing to pay it, the result can be beautiful. The Phoenix Electric showroom gleamed under spotlights and camera flashes. My latest installation, a massive chandelier made from recycled car parts, dominated the entrance. Reporters jostled for position as my father cut the ribbon. And with that, he announced, his voice filled with an unfamiliar pride, we welcome you to the future of sustainable luxury. Mara appeared at my elbow. Channel 7 wants an interview with the CEO. The CEO is busy admiring her work. I smiled, watching potential customers stream in. Ezra rushed over with his tablet. Pre-orders are insane. The sustainable luxury market is eating this up. Your art installations are trending on every platform. My mother touched my arm gently, a new habit she developed, as if making sure I was real. Melanie, darling, the governor's asking about commissioning a piece for the State House. Tell him to call my assistant, I winked. I'm very exclusive these days. Across the showroom, Wendy was explaining our innovative financing programs to a group of investors. Louisa had taken a part-time position heading our medical transport division. Even Nathan had found his place, leading our research partnership with local universities. Miss Gonzalez, a reporter pushed forward, how does it feel to revolutionize a traditional family business? Before I could answer, my father stepped in. My daughter didn't just revolutionize the business, he said proudly. She saved it by being exactly who she always was. The reporter's eyebrows shot up. Even after the family drama, our sources say there was quite a rift. I met my father's eyes. Sometimes, I said, Rifts create space for new foundations. Speaking of foundations, Ezra interrupted, tablet extended. The Sustainable Arts Foundation called. They want you to head their board. My mother squeezed my hand. Go, she whispered. We can handle things here. I shook my head. Family first, business second. That's our new motto, remember. The showroom continued filling with people, admiring both the vehicles and the art. Each piece told a story of transformation, from the chandelier above to the small phoenix sculpture still perched on my desk. Mel, Mara called out. Your sister's looking for you. Something about the community outreach program. I found Louisa in the conference room, surrounded by blueprints. We got approved, she announced. The Youth Art Center can break ground next month in the old dealership lot. Where else? I smiled. From car sales to creating opportunities. Very on brand for the new us. Nathan poked his head in. Mom's getting emotional again. Dad's trying to handle it. I followed him to find my mother wiping tears, surrounded by concerned guests. Mom, I touched her shoulder. You okay? She pulled me into a hug. I just never imagined all of this. You've made something so beautiful inside and out. We made it, I corrected her. Once we stopped breaking things and started fixing them. Wendy joined us, champagne in hand. To fixing things. She raised her glass. And to my sister, who taught us that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones we almost throw away. The evening wound down. As the last guest left, my family gathered under the chandelier, its shadows dancing across our faces. Broken pieces creating patterns none of us could have predicted. The disownment papers, my father said suddenly. We never did destroy them publicly. I walked to my office, returning with the document that had changed everything. Actually, I said, I had other plans for these. I handed pieces to each family member. Together, we walked to the art installation in the center of the showroom, a massive glass furnace, part of my live demonstration space. The phoenix rises, I said, opening the furnace door. But first, the old has to burn. One by one, we fed the papers into the flames. As they burned, I reached for the glass-blowing tools. Watch, I told them, gathering the molten glass, mixed with the paper's ashes. This is how you make beauty from pain. Hours later, a new piece sat cooling, a small family of glass figures, their cores containing the ashes of our worst moment, transformed into something new. It's us, my mother whispered. It's who we are now, I corrected. Not perfect, not unbroken, but stronger where we were broken. Ezra and Mara found us still there, admiring the piece. Ready to call it a night, boss? Ezra asked. I looked at my family, really looked at them. At my father's proud smile, my mother's gentle touch, my siblings' relaxed poses. At how far we'd come from that night they'd tried to disown me. Actually, I said, I think we're just getting started. The chandelier above caught the light of day, sending fragments of rainbow across the showroom floor. Like family, like art, like life itself. Sometimes the most beautiful things come from knowing exactly which pieces to keep, which to transform, and which to let go. Come on, I told them all. Let's go home. And this time, I knew exactly what that meant. What about you? Have you ever had to redefine what family truly means to you? Or found your greatest strength in the face of betrayal? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear from you.